back my fighting and fitness fans to a very special edition of the Fight Straight podcast. We're coming to you straight out of Longo and Weidman MMA in Garden City, New York. It's not only special because of the setting, but because myself, Jason Burgos, senior editor for MMAsucker.com, and the one and only guru of strength and conditioning, Phil Daru. We're together, recording together for one. Phil, what is up?
That's like kind of melodramatic, man. You gotta be a little bit more hype. When we just,
it's epic.
First time we seen each other.
I am.
You know what I'm saying? I get to rub these flabby, crafty guys. Awesome. Man.
I got the biggest muscles on the table. He just doesn't want to admit it. So, I mean, this week's edition is going to be very different from the usual. We are going to forego our Ask the Room segment and usual banter and jump right into our guest segment. So let's get right into it. Let me introduce our guest and gracious host, and his friend. He's a legend in the MMA coaching game as he was a huge influence in the two biggest upsets in UFC history. He was a coach for Matt Serra when he knocked off George St. Pierre, who's also fighting this weekend, in stunning fashion in 2007. And then again was there for Chris Weidman's defeat of the demigod of MMA that was Anderson Silva 6 years later. Without a doubt, he's an icon of New York mixed martial arts and one of the driving forces in turning Longo and Weidman MMA into a powerhouse gym in the sport. He's the one and only Ray Longo. Ray, thank you for letting us come into Law today to interview for the show this week.
I gotta tell you, where did this quiet guy? What happened to the guy that was here 2 seconds ago?
I told you.
Recording's on.
You went from a 3 to a 10. However long that intro was. But nah, great to be here, guys. I hope it goes good.
Yeah. And now I can't forget, we also have a second guest to assist Ray with this interview. A former, one-time. This is history. You're the first person to ever be on the Fight Straight podcast twice. We have Tony Ricci, double masters, multidisciplined ass kicker, trainer of superstars. Training Liam Geary, Chris Weidman, straight out of New York. I mean, Phil, what are you feeling just invaded by New York, like the lone Florida guy just overcome with New York City?
I feel like I'm supposed to be here.
He's an East Coast guy. At the end of the day, man, he's Italian, he's an East Coast guy. That's a
now you're Italian. You were Viking before. Now you're
I'm always Italian.
You do have a good Viking look.
I know, that's true. I got the Ragnar thing going on.
We need that hat with the horns. I'll be running out the door.
Go.
You walk through the door with that, I'm going the other way.
There you go. Me and you share the same thing. We got the blue eyes. There you go. But yeah, so first of all, thank you for letting us come by. But come to you as a coach, right? And seeing that you have a long history in the sport, I'd like to know what physically drives you to keep doing what you're doing and what your plans for the future.
I think my comfort zone is helping people, and I think that's really what drives me. When I could see a guy go from point A to point B, and I'm a part of it, I really feel like that really makes me feel good. So I think that's really the driving force, is really just helping people out and being there for them. I think I figured out a long time ago I'd be a better coach than a fighter. So that's where my efforts went, and that was it.
Definitely. I mean, we kind of share the same thing, and Tony's probably the same way. I mean, I think that, if you're going to be a coach, you have to be selfless in a sense. And when you're a fighter, and trust me, and we've all been there, we had that selfish tendency where we needed to be somewhat selfish. Yeah. But now, transferring over and actually being that guy where your fighter can actually come to you. Exactly. I mean, I got guys calling me at 12 midnight, you know what I mean, and asking me for advice. Exactly. So I mean, that's awesome that you're still doing it, and you're doing it at such a high level. Yeah, it's commendable.
And again, Phil, when it stops really becoming fun and enjoyable, I'll definitely stop. But selflessness is probably the key ingredient. And and these guys are relying on you for info, and they, look, everybody gets nervous at certain times. They get injured, they have to fight, they do this and that. So, we always say, you want to be a safety net for when they fall, and you want to be able to hoist the guy up on your shoulders when they win. And really, the safety net thing really becomes critical. I think Angelo Dundee said it. Don't look at the guys that are in the locker room, after a win, looking, after they lose. And people find out the hard way, all the hanger-ons and stuff. And as a coach, man, you got to be steady Eddie through all of that stuff. And again, I think it was just my comfort zone to try to fill that capacity.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, let's segment into something new and pretty much what I always wanted to ask somebody if we were of stature. What would you say is lacking in the sport of MMA as of right now, as opposed to where it was 5 years ago? Like, for instance, let's say, do fighters need to make more money? Should there be less sanctioning rules? Or should the UFC, should they go back to letting the fighters get their own sponsors?
Man, that's tough. Look, more money is always good. Nobody's ever going to disagree with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's that bad, the money thing. I think, if guys are active and they're winning, they'll make a decent, they'll make some money. So I think that's really lacking. I like the thing with having their own sponsors because I think that, it gives not only the fighter an opportunity to make more money, but it gives, people in the community a sense of feeling a part of something also that's really been taken away from them. So, whether it's a small guy or a big guy, it's still a relationship, and they cut out all those relationships and that kind of stinks because we get some nice sponsors and, we forge some nice relationships with people that really get cut out of the whole scene. So, it was a little bit, monopolistic for me of controlling and, whatever. But I think all in all, I think the rules are in place. I think the athletic commissions are doing a great job. They're always addressing weight cutting, and they're trying to make it a safer sport. So I think, with the concussion protocols, and they're trying. So I think that's all going in the right direction. So I think in general, as a whole, I believe this sport's going in the right direction. I really do. I mean, if you look at even the Pride days where everybody was juicing and guys were getting soccer kicked in the head. I'm not saying it wasn't exciting. I'm not saying it wasn't realistic.
I think was it one MMA or one?
Oh yeah, one probably is still.
They still do it.
Oh yeah, one FC.
But so I think we made some inroads. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing that up. I'm not saying we all love those Pride fights and stuff, but some of those guys are really banged up now. And that's not good to see.
No, nothing to add really. But my only fear is that there is, the absence of meritocracy in that you got a lot of guys working hard, and my only worry is that we're going to see fights in which they're strictly related to income generation, which I understand, but you've taken away the opportunity from a fighter who deserves the next crack or should get a particular fight. That just concerns me a bit because these guys work hard, these ladies work hard, they push really hard, and if all the future fights are orchestrated strictly around pay-per-view sales, and I get it, I'm a capitalist, I want the UFC to do well, but I hate to see a bunch of kids who've been in the game for 5 years or deserve the rematch and not get that opportunity. So that's the only thing that I have a look on, but other than that, I agree with Ray. There's some things going really in a good direction.
I gotta tell you, this is why we have Tony Ricci on, because he really did bring up a good point with, I'm not a big fan of making those matches, although even like with the GSP Discipline thing, I really like both guys, and I'm glad they're making money, but man, it does put, I also have Chris Weidman, who would love a crack at the belt, and I think that's where it gets really, really crazy, and he brings up a good point. But then again, you could look at it if that's what they have to do to survive as a company. So these other guys, you know what I mean? For the bottom line, if they have to do that for the bottom line, which will keep them going stronger for the future for everybody, then it might be necessary every so often. I'd like to see it done a little differently, but yeah, it's really a great point.
So is it safe to say that you think that the sport is actually going in the right direction rather than the wrong direction?
Well, I think they're learning now that they can do some of these fights every so often, but I wouldn't make that that could be the start of the end if they start just making fights like these.
We actually were talking about this. I think we were talking about this in another podcast, FSP Overtime. But we were saying that I think that the problem in the ticket sales were actually down.
Yeah, but this is what it's about.
No, they dropped the prices. They dropped the prices like $800 on some tickets, $600, $800, which is crazy. So I don't think they got the support they think they were going to get. Again, it goes like GSP. I don't think he's the draw. Obviously, he's not the draw he was 4 years ago because that place would have sold out the first week. 100% sold out the first week, and as of 2 days before the fight or a day before the fight, to have seats left is pretty crazy. Because GSP at one point, and even the bars around here, when he fought, they would be packed. So like again, GSP Bisping, great fight on paper. Who doesn't want to see it? But if you're a real avid fan of the sport, or you're a coach and you have a guy in the wings that deserves that shot, or whether it's Chris Weidman or Yoel Romero or Jocko, whoever it is, that kind of sucks. But I mean, it's a great fight. I just don't think it's the right fight. You know.
Now, Ray, where did your love for combat sports originate from, and what was the path that led you to becoming a coach in sport? Like, for example, Tony watched boxing with his father, watched Muhammad Ali. Like, what inspired you to actually get into this business?
Look, I'm similar to Tony. I mean, my father was a huge boxing fan. I can remember watching Roberto Duran against Esteban de Jesus back in, I think, Panama, like 100-degree weather. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I have a huge history of that, watching, you know, Vince Lombardi coach the Packers, you know, 14 degrees below zero weather. So I always had a passion for watching the coaches also, not only the fighters, but I had a great love for boxing and just even, you know, watching the great coaches in football and how they conducted themselves and the different methods they use. I was always fascinated by it. Whether it was Angelo Dundee or Vince Lombardi or Pat Riley or Phil Parcells or John Madden, you know, there were some really good coaches. Who got animated, who was more of an animated coach, who was more of a technical coach, you know, by the book play, you know, who held to their principles. You know, what is a guy all about? What are his core principles? What does he believe in? You know? So I love, you know, studying all that stuff, and I think it was a big influence on me. And then I was starting doing martial arts in like 1973, and I don't even think it was popular, but it was always fascinating for me. And you know, that was it really. I really just had a love of martial arts, and then when this, you know, came about with the MMA, it just kind of segued right in. I started training kickboxing, testing out, does this stuff even work even from a stand-up point of view, and I just fell in love with it, you know.
Now, you mentioned like you know, Vince Lombardi, old school coach. I want to ask all of you, because there feels to be a trend going, because for example, like Joe Girardi just got let go, you know. Do you think there's a trend in sports, in MMA and in sports in general, that there's athletes are being babied more, like the tough, hard coach who just gave a kick in the ass is starting to go away from sports? Do you see it in MMA really?
I don't think you could even get away with that anymore. I mean, remember Billy Martin yelling at Richie Jackson?
Throwing things, just about hitting him in the dugout. Yeah,
In those days, now we don't even know if that's good or bad, but I mean, like again, as far as passion, that was passionate,
yes.
Man. You can't take that away. Like, they wanted to win, you know, and I think these guys with social media today and all that, they just got their hands tied. And again, you're right, you're more of a babysitter today. Back then, you were, you know, you could influence a team. You really could by, you know, just by your actions. And I think, again, being passionate, I don't know, I think you're right, that's taken away. And you know, you gotta remember, it's the athlete, really. It's like, even for me, it's not about me, it's really about the athlete, and that's really what it's come down to, and, you know, it's just a different time back then.
As I mentioned in the intro, you were an integral part of the FIFO, GSP, and Silva, so of course I have to ask, do you have any flyweights on the rise we should expect to be Demetrius Johnson? Because that's kind of your thing to do. So if you're looking for a Longo flyweight.
That's funny. I mean, you know what? There's a couple of bantamweights, but flyweights we don't have
Tough to
anybody.
get down.
But I think we could drop Marab down to
we may give him a full that.
Let's see how he does. I got Aljamain Sterling and Marab Dashavelli fighting on December 9th in Fresno, and this kid Marab is, you don't know Aljamain Sterling, I think he's really one of the most talented guys I've ever laid eyes on. I'm still waiting for him to hit his stride, and he's already doing great, but the ceiling is very high on that kid.
I was going to say he's probably highly athletic.
Highly athletic, and he could do things that he hasn't even shown he could do in the octagon, and that's what we're waiting to see, is when he gets that aha moment, it starts clicking and going for it. So I'm psyched about it, and we have a kid from the Republic of Georgia, Marab, who's got a work ethic second to none. So he's like I don't want to say he's like a Khabib, but you know, they have that Eastern Europe. It could be his own worst enemy. You know, the head, cutting open with a carry. I don't know what he's doing.
Those guys
blowing his head together. I mean,
they're 30 years behind us.
I mean, they're really, yeah.
Not behind us in any other capacity, but where we were 25, 30, 40
I'm
years ago.
trying to explain to him, no, you gotta get a plastic surgeon. You can't do this. You're not even gonna make it to the fight. I mean, the guy, they're crazy, but you have to love working with guys like that.
Yeah.
Just, you could see it, man. They'll just do everything to the last breath of air they have, and that's a good thing. So, if you combine, if I can combine everybody's best attributes together between Chris and Matt and Aljo and Iaquinta, fucking complete man Adam. You know what I mean? That guy just, and it would be great. But I'm psyched about these two guys coming up. So Laurent probably is the only guy that could drop down to 25. So let's just see. I don't want to rush to, jump the gun with him either. He's got his first fight. He's very excited about it. We're very excited about it. He's got Frankie Science, who's no pushover. And it's going to be a great test for Laurent to see where he's at. So I'm excited. So we'll see. But is he the next guy on the list, Demetrius Johnson?
Yeah, that's the next greatest. I mean, John Jones has eliminated himself in the conversation. So I'm glad you mentioned the lad from Georgia because his transition is great to mention. I mean, you're the first guest we've had that is as part of running a major gym that bears your name on it. And Tony, it's for you, you're part of this gym too, you're a big part. What is the recruitment process like for your roster fighters? Do you seek out young amateurs, BJJ practitioners, and collegiate wrestlers on the rise and extend them an invitation? Do you just let them come, since this is a top level gym in the Northeast, and they just show up here and they ask, do you have to do you have to vet fighters at all before you let them train in this gym? Like, how does the whole process?
I mean, we really don't take anybody in. We're a real small gym. We love being a small gym, and we have a saying, it's homegrown talent. So all of these guys are within like 5 miles of the gym. They grew up on Long Island. It's kind of crazy. A couple of guys, like the kid from Georgia, but he by circumstance ended up here, and he needed some help. So
how did he come here? Like his management?
He got brought over by somebody else, and then I ran into, when Chris was training at Henzo's, I ran into his friend, and he happened to say he was living in the area. And I said, well, come down if you want. And came down and kind of fell in love with the kid and the other guy that I was talking with. Really just nice people, and that was it. Then he wanted to stay here. Like, he didn't even know technically about this place when he came over. So he's a little different than the other guys that really grew up on Long Island, and that's really what makes us tick, I think, is that, when you create a bond with people and you have something in common, we all live in the same area, we all went to the same high school, played against each other, all of that stuff, I think that creates a different bond, and then when that bond is made, they're more willing to listen to you too. So I like to keep it like that, and it's definitely more satisfying when you're considered a small school and you're beating all the guys that supposedly,
a big gym, like
a big gym,
top 10.
and that really, really motivates the shit out of me. I love that. And even like the iron sharpens iron thing, I agree with it, but it's not the end all to be all. I mean, who does Demetrius Johnson train? You see what I'm saying? And all of the good guys, most of the good guys, they didn't have that because it comes from within also. You know what I mean? And, Matt Yoon knows what he has in the Demetrius Johnson. And he's gonna coach that. And he should get a lot of credit too, Matt Yoon, another good guy in the sport. Kind of, not that he flies under the radar, but he doesn't give a shit about being out there in front of everybody.
Yeah, he doesn't get enough credibility.
Yeah, he does a great job with Demetrius. He knows what he has to do. I think he understands the talent he has in front of him, and he's going to work accordingly. He doesn't have to fly guys anywhere. I even like that about Conor McGregor. I'm happy with the guys I got. I don't have to go berserk. And once you start thinking like that, and I got to go here, and this guy's got this, we have to put up with this the whole time. You come out with a thing they put on your head that makes your feet quick, and then the guy wants to do that. And everybody's looking for the secret weapon somewhere, and this is one of the, as a coach, you got to just kind of ride that shit out and go, holy crap. There's no secrets, man. That's really what it comes down to. But everybody's looking for the next best thing.
Yeah, no, just a quick comment. I think it's what keeps the chemistry here so nice. Is the homegrown, and your other gyms on Long Island doing a very nice job with the homegrown. So we're very proud of Long Island. It's really produced some very good fighters. But you even see a little magic this year in the Yankees. What was the magic about the team? Homegrown. The kids were together. The kids grew up together. That's what made the team a little different. And I think what Ray has said, anyone I've ever brought to this facility. Really, it's the attitude, the family. I've never when someone loses in this gym, it's quiet. People care. People really care. So that's I think a wonderful thing to have. And when you're part of this team, you're part of the team. And Ray's done a great job with that. And it's just really neat to see because it's hard to keep that together in sports.
It is. Everybody's got an ego and it's hard to, but you know, a lot of guys are just team plays. So you got to just know how to corral everybody, and it's really a good thing. Like he says, it's from the heart, and I think that's the way it has to be. Well, that's the way I want it. Like I can't take a room full of 30 guys because in 1,000 years I could never direct the right amount of energy to that. I never even liked the group sparring like that. And I've tried it, but I got to watch everybody in the ring. I think it makes them feel like, you know, they're in the spotlight. It's more like a fight.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a time and a place for that. You know, you want to just play around. You have a late sparring day. You get everybody in the room, but you know, you can't watch everybody. That's for sure. And it's good because it's always good to get work. But and different looks, different, you know, southpaws, tall guys, bigger guys, heavier guys. But for the most part, I like to isolate it, make everybody feel like they're special. And it's been successful for me, so I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you say about homegrown talent and things like that, I would like to know what, in your opinion, from a skills perspective, what is the best base that a fighter should have to actually be successful in the sport of mixed martial arts?
Well, I'll tell you, for me now, and this is, you know, within the last 10 years or since I met Chris Weidman, I do believe wrestling is the best base. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that because when I can get a wrestler and then I can get his stand-up kind of up to par with everything, and then he can dictate the range of that fight, and that's the important part. Whereas if I had a guy, jiu-jitsu guy, say, or a kickboxing guy or a boxing guy who's good, but they can't really dictate the range of that fight because they're going to get taken down, that becomes another issue. You know what I mean? So I like wrestling as a base. I think that's the best base you can have. Also, the attributes that you build as a wrestler is second to none. Because you have to go through a lot of adversity, mental toughness, you know, guys like Chris that get to All-American status. I mean, that's not an easy task to do, you know?
I noticed a lot of my guys that come from a wrestling background, they also pick up kickboxing and boxing a lot quicker than the guys that do kickboxing and try to go to wrestling.
Exactly. That's another great point.
So I think that has to do with, that just has to do with their upbringing too. And then also being able to grind it out a lot of times in practices. They have so many practices throughout the day. A lot of boxers, a lot of kickboxers.
No, totally different. Totally, I agree 100% with you. Which brings up another good point. That's really what I admire about GSP. That he was able to dominate in the wrestling department with no wrestling. So, like, again, if I'm a guy, just a guy in the gym, I'm looking at that guy as like a hero. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Which people don't really pick up on. The guy never wrestled. And he went with something. You know,
he's almost the exception to the rule.
He is the exception, but you know what? It's almost like, you know, the 4-minute mile. Nobody thought it could be done until it was done. So he's telling you, with the right training and the right attitude, it can be done. And that's what for the guys that I have standing up, that's what I try to impart on them. Don't, because you go the other way. Oh, I never wrestled, so what am I going to do? And then it's a negative. But you have to make it a challenge and really bring yourself to just dive right into the wrestling, take down defense or whatever you want to do, and really just go for it. I think, like, again, GSP fascinates me with that. That's one thing that's totally fascinating, is how he was able to control the range of those fights against a guy like Josh Koscheck, against a guy like Johnny Hendricks. These ain't just guys that wrestle. These are guys at the food chain where he should be getting hammered. I mean,
they were champions.
You know, and that's the one thing I think with GSP that out of everything that just blows me away.
And to add to your point, you know, your point too about wrestling, is that, you know, GSP is an anomaly. Perfect example. We got two bantamweights fighting tonight that wrestling based. Dillashaw and Garber come from wrestling, and they're two of the best strikers in the entire sport. You know, they were able to learn that, and there's not many strikers. GSP really is wonderful.
No, he went the other way, and that's not, like you said, it's not easy to do. We've all dealt with boxers and kickboxers, and it's not a pretty sight.
How closely do you work with other gyms in the area, like Belmar Kickboxing, Sarah BJJ, Long Island MMA? Do you share fighters at all, or has LAW become a one-stop shop for everything a fighter needs to complete a training camp?
No, well, Matt Sir is actually my partner. Obviously, that gym is attached to this. It's selling on the fight team, so we do that. And there's times when I'm really at Belmore a lot, and there's times when I'm not there, but there's over the last 10 years, I think I've been there a lot. It depends on who the fighter is, and you know, whether Keith has a guy that weight and they work good together and stuff like that. So yeah, I think we work with all the other players.
Yeah,
you know, there's times,
Long Island MMA, right?
even for the Nassau Coliseum fight, all the gyms we were running the hills together and doing things. Yeah. So it was a Long Island thing. I think we tried to make it like that. And you know, there's times when we're seeing a lot of each other, and there's times when everybody's just doing their own thing. But good relationships with everybody.
Now, you've been around the sport for a long time. Other than your own fighters, who would you say are the 5 best fighters you've ever seen in the sport? And I think we're pretty clear GSP's out of that.
Yeah.
Who's the other 4 best fighters you've seen in MMA?
I've never seen any other fights. It's only about my fight. Other fighters, man, I don't know. I got to think about that. Obviously, GSP had to be up there. I always did like Anderson's. I'm going to pick all the guys we beat. Just to be a real prick and a narcissistic piece of shit. But I do. I mean, Anderson Silva. Who could? You know, how could you not like him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A guy I really like, Cain Velasquez. Again, I like the grinders, man, and that guy, but just the pace he would set as a heavyweight, and he was always loved watching him fight. So now, you know, obviously Wonder Boy's not one of my fighters, but you know, I think he's got such great stand-up, and his timing is so good. I mean, I'm a big fan of Wonder Boys. I think he's got a lot of big things to do. I love the guy that he's fighting, Jorge Masvidal. I think he's one of the toughest guys around, who really understands fighting, literally loves fighting.
Would you like to make a pick for that fight? Because somebody's cool with Jorge.
No, I really look. I'm a big fan of Jorge Masvidal. You know, I picked him over Cerrone, and that was like I think people didn't think that fight was going, but I knew that was kind of a lock. I would never bet against Wonder Boy, no matter who he's fighting, because he's just a great guy and a great ambassador for the sport. Great family. I mean, you see those specials where he's running that school program, he's picking the kids up in the school bus. I mean, anybody that dislikes that guy, it's just, I don't know. I don't know.
Ray, does he train here too? Is it just every once in a while?
You know, to work with Chris.
Yeah.
And Chris goes up there, so he's definitely down.
Cool. Is he a New York guy?
No, he's in South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay, yeah.
It's Weidman's brother-in-law, right?
That's Weidman's brother-in-law. Yeah, it's actually Weidman's brother-in-law.
Oh wow.
That's a great story, but. So Cain Velasquez, I mean, Demetrius Johnson, like phenomenal. I mean, what he did in the last couple of fights and just always going for it, even though he's ahead on the card. So, you know, I don't know. You can't say enough about that guy either.
What about Robert Whittaker? How do you feel one Chris Weidman matches up with Robert Whittaker?
I think that's a great matchup. You know, it's funny. Before he fought Mousasi, I was looking for Whittaker as the fight because I figured he was an up-and-coming guy, and to grab him now while he was up-and-coming, you know. But Whittaker, looking, man, he's done a great thing. You know, Wonder Boy did knock him out at 170.
He forced him to leave. They go to 185.
He did force him to leave, but it looks like he's more comfortable at 85. He's got a way to go before he, to prove himself. But I'm trying to think of who else. I like DC. I think he's a great fighter. Another guy. I like those guys that just tough it out.
Yeah.
And they just, they're not the biggest guys in the division, but they find a way to win. I just think there's so much to be said about that.
I like Joanna. I'm going to go. We got to give the ladies some credit. I really love watching that young woman, and I like the courage she has, the guts she has, the pace at which she sets, and that's she's obviously one of the things that I'm thrilled with fighting is I love people who come in a weak condition because that's a big part of what I do.
Yeah, weak condition.
Daru the guru, as we mentioned earlier, right?
Bearded wonder.
Exactly. So I really enjoy that, and not just because Phil's my good friend and he's here, but I want to give the ladies a shout out, and she's one of them for sure. She's an excellent fighter, and I love anyone who can set that kind of pace. People who and GSP would be there for that. It's really exciting to me. Weidman, obviously, and that was before I ever met him. And let me tell you, he's a good guy, man.
That's one of the reasons, because I don't just judge fighters. If there's a host of things you look at. Is it just the fighter or is it the individual? And I go to the individual too. And what Ray was saying about Steven, Thompson Wonderboy is a really good guy. So I judge, things outside of just who's a great fighter. But certainly,
character.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I honestly do, Phil. That's
Even
important
with martial
to me.
arts, Phil, like you could be a great martial arts if you're a douchebag.
Yeah, exactly.
Really,
Nobody
it's
wants to be
horrible.
around
It's
you.
horrible. You know what I mean?
It's plain English, yeah.
Another great.
They're out there. Trust me. They're
Oh,
out there. You know
God,
that.
maybe the majority.
I want to
but-
qualify my statement too. I really enjoy watching everybody fight, but thinking about it, two other guys that come to mind. Nick Diaz, I love watching fight.
Yes.
I love the volume he sets.
You pace, man. I love those guys.
He's a true fighter. Him and his brother Nate. I always love watching those guys fight. And the other guy that I really admire is BJ Penn. Just not for the fact, because again, a true fighter.
Yeah.
Any weight, the guy fought Machida at 205. I mean, think of the stuff that guy's
I know,
done.
man.
Like the guys that will fight anybody.
It's so crazy.
Because back in the day, that's what it was all about. Even when I was with Matt, he fought guys 30 pounds heavier than him at these local shows. I mean, it was insane. So the guys that fight, and you know that they have a love for fighting, it doesn't matter what, you're over 3 pounds, who gives a shit? They're not going by, there's other guys, 3 pound done. I'm not fighting you. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying it's the smartest thing, but you got to respect what they're doing. And BJ, if you look at all the guys he's fought in the different weight classes, and you got to love the guy, you know what I mean? So I like BJ for that, attitude-wise, I don't think you could beat him. Nick Diaz for pace and just, toughness and just being his own guy and just... one of the guys that I really find, like, if I have a conversation, just a straight shooter. You know what I mean? He's not bullshitting you. He don't give a, not stab you in the back when you walk away. He's a loyal guy. He's just a good dude, man. I don't know if he's understood by many people, but I've never, ever had a bad conversation with that guy ever. It's always a pleasure to see him, and I respect the guy, and he fights, man. He's gonna fight.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And that's it.
What are your personal interests away from the sport? What do you like to do when you're not here?
Man, I like playing the guitar. Hanging
pretty
with
good.
my family. And, you can never beat the guitar. So it's always a growth process. And I find that's like some people meditate. I like to just play the guitar and challenge myself with some different stuff. And I'm hoping that it prevents dementia in the future. I gotta keep concentrating. So it's like my.
Maybe I should start doing that too.
I'm hoping for something out of this guitar. I don't know what it is because I can't sing. So, but it keeps you mentally sharp, I think, and it's always good to, it's another way to be creative. And I think, music and instruments goes hand in hand with the martial arts. They're both very creative, and you express yourself different ways in each of them. And I think it's a natural fit. And I think a lot of martial arts guys like playing, like music and are into it.
Yeah.
That's a big music guy, I think, outside of this. And that's it, man. Just chilling out and, with the family and doing those type
Favorite
of things.
movies? I know you love Gladiator. You gave me the
Number
the
one,
whole
yeah.
I'm just gonna be again a cliche jerk off. Goodfellas was I can't get enough of those Goodfellas and those type of things.
What about Casino?
Casino's phenomenal. Raging Bull. I think the Nero fan, but Raging Bull was a classic.
That should be the one right there.
That should be the one.
That should be the one. What about Bronx Tale?
I like Bronx Tale. Awesome. I love Bronx Tale. Colangelo, baby. Now I'm glad you brought the guitar because I wanted to ask you, how much do you really want to open up a coffee shop with Tony Ricci, and would you play the guitar there?
I would definitely. I think the coffee shop is a really viable project in the future. I could see it, and I think what we're getting at is just somewhere to go and chill out and bullshit and get away from all the drama. But all the external stuff that goes in with a gym that you just don't want to be a part of. Who's this guy's doing that? This guy don't like what that guy's doing with it, and that shit just drives me fucking bonkers now. And I think that's where we came up with it, is just a place to chill out and hang out and have a cup of coffee and enjoy the company of people, which is another thing that's really important, is to just build relationships for the right reason and to really enjoy being around people, like a social club, exactly, without killing anybody. But
we make good macchiatos too. I just want you to know we're already practicing. So you guys want?
Do you have cheese sticks?
Yes, I love
cheese sticks.
And that might be on my bucket list to get up and to play with a couple of guys that are already decent musicians.
there you
That
go.
might be something in the future. So
What was the name? What do you guys think the name would be?
Oh, the coffee shop.
he likes ground and pound. Like,
Yeah,
I like
coffee,
that. I like that.
You have ground and
That's a
pound.
fucking phenomenal name. That's perfect.
I'm
knows his
doing a
stuff.
verbal trademark.
I mean,
Imagine that
grind coffee,
next month
ground
we see
coffee.
Phil
Oh,
with
yeah.
a ground and pound franchise. Dan
franchisee.
Lambert goes, what do you need, 20, 30?
He's worth 3.2 billion.
Lambert comes in, he just starts putting franchises up ground.
Yeah. We got the whole shit in Florida.
Every time he sees me, he's laughing in my face.
Ground and pound. You got you grind the coffee,
Yeah, I
and you
dig
buy
it.
a pound.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got a better one, grind and pound.
Okay, there you go.
We're changing
I
it.
think that sounds like a strip club version of it.
That's a little something different.
I mean, that's all that question. Just humongous thing. Is there anything like social media? I know you say you're not big into social media, but anything people can follow you? You know, let them know your Twitter, Facebook.
I'm trying to get big in social media. Instagram, Ray Longo MMA, and that's I think my Twitter too. So.
How
Follow
about
me on
training
Instagram.
day? Training day with
Training
Ray?
Day with
That's
Ray.
his podcast.
And that's it. Now, can we determine whether Phil is a Viking, he's French, or he's Italian?
I mean, if you look at the tattoos, I think he might be Russian.
Or he's a Hawaiian. I mean, he's this guy. I don't know. Now I'm going on the Viking thing.
I have a cheap swab here. Ancestry,
Yes.
proud Kazakh and Mongolian.
He's told me about that. Oh man.
Tony, give me your social media: the Twitter, the Instagram, the Facebook. so
Oh,
they can
just
follow you too.
you know, on Instagram's fun. Just it's Fight Shape, name of my company, with an underslash and my last name, Fight Shape Ricci, and I'm just on Facebook as Tony Ricci. So
Phil, you know, as always, give me your social.
I'm gonna go ahead and refrain from my social media today because
See the humbleness.
Can
the
you get
humbleness.
that past your bicep? That
I
picture
can't.
when you
I
did
don't
that?
even know if it's
I
actually
think
possible.
take a selfie.
I don't even know if it's.
Can't even take a selfie. Your bicep is in the
Hold this.
see is a tattoo.
Hold this for me, man.
See if you can get it.
Oh, there's a selfie of Phil's
Hit a
bicep.
double. Hit a double. Wow! Adamantium.
Side angle.
Adamantium.
That's all.
You can find me on Twitter, Cheapsies Chad, on Instagram, Jericho Vendetta. But always don't forget Fight Strength on Facebook, Fight Strength Podcast on Twitter, Fight Strength _. Also, big thank you to our sponsors, the Iron Neck and Novogenics. You know, thank you so much for being our sponsors. Thank you, Ray Longo, so much for hosting us. Tony Ricci for being here too. It's a wonderful experience.
Really good show, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you. Appreciate
That
it.
is it. Bye bye.